Well, I'm back. It's been a hot minute. What, maybe almost a year? Remember, if you're watching this and you're a person that tuned in when I did this before, a year ago, almost a year, I specifically said I will quit this. And I did. Well, I'm back. For those of you, anyone, I don't even know why I said for those of you, that's embarrassing. No one's probably watching. So let's start from scratch. My name's Jackie Blankenship. I'm a former Mrs. America. I up and quit my job last year because of anxiety. So now I call myself Mrs. Anxiety. Welcome to my podcast. I don't like calling it a podcast because there's no rhyme or reason behind when I post this. There's no rhyme or reason behind what I talk about. There's no rhyme or reason to my life. That's just being honest. I got to start somewhere though. And about a year ago, I up and quit my job. For those of you from West Michigan, you might have known me. I was on a morning radio show, and progressively over the course of probably a year, but 6 months is when it really ramped up. I started getting intense anxiety. I already had anxiety. It had nothing to do with work. That's the thing. Work itself was not making me anxious, but my life was making me anxious, and lack of sleep, personal things in my life that I guess I can talk about on this if I do this again outside today. Lots of things were making me anxious, and it was affecting my work. And I wasn't doing a good job. I wasn't a good broadcaster. I wasn't good to my co-host. I wasn't good. Now, it led me to ask myself the question, do you want to keep doing this? Do you care about this enough to fight for it? Can you come out of this hole you've dug yourself? This bed rot hole? I literally this couch I'm sitting on, I'll demonstrate. That was me all day. As soon as I got home from the morning show, I would sit there and do that all day, couch rot, and watch old TV shows like Desperate Housewives. I would binge watch shows like Desperate Housewives, and I would spend literally all day watching it. And then I'd pick up my daughter and do the things I had to do. I just was in a horrible rut. So I asked myself, can you fight for this? Do you want to fight for this? Is it fair to your co-host? And I ultimately came up with the decision that I should probably quit. I'm not invested. I'm anxious. I feel like crap. I don't want to be here because I'm thinking about other things. So I did. I quit. And I knew when I quit, no one's going to miss you. And that's a real thing in the real world. I think a lot of times people get these inflated egos, and it's not just in broadcasting, it's in anything. My husband sees it in his industry all the time in cybersecurity and data stuff that he does. You think when you leave a job, or you leave a team, or you leave anything, a club, a sport, whatever, that everyone's going to miss you and that they are going to have it rough when you're gone. Newsflash, they don't. They don't. And I know this because I've left multiple jobs in broadcasting for other gigs, and never did anyone really like the wheels keep moving, guys. They do. People keep listening to the radio just because Jackie Blankenship isn't on anymore. People keep watching TV, the news, just because I'm not on anymore. And that's true for anybody. I mean, there's, I guess, a few instances where someone might leave and it'll affect the company negatively. And they'll be like, oh man, we're screwed for a month. But they'll make a comeback. They will make a comeback. And that's what happened with me. They made a comeback. They're fine. The show is doing fine without me. They didn't need me. And that's reality. And even though I knew that, I'm not going to pretend it didn't sting a little. It did sting a little. I thought, I don't know. I won't even get into that. It's just the reality. So anyway, a year ago, I quit my job. I then thought, well, the first few weeks I'm home, let's just let's just chill, figure out what I want to do. But what's next for Jackie Blankenship? And nothing. Nothing was next. The anxiety didn't go away. It didn't get any better. Like my broken nail. Sorry. If you're watching on a video, you can see I have a broken nail. It looks awful. Anyway, my anxiety didn't get better. I didn't feel better. Nothing changed in my life except I got more sleep. And I was like, well, that sucks. I thought this would be the cure-all. I'd sleep more. I'd be home more. I wouldn't feel so anxious. And it didn't fix anything. It really didn't. So then I did a podcast. I called it Mrs. Anxiety because I'm a former Mrs. America. I do pageants, and we'll get into that too. And I did 5 episodes. And in the first episode, I said, I will not stick with this because I stick with nothing. And I didn't. I quit. On the 5th episode, I was done, and I never came back on. And to give you a peek behind the curtain, every day after that last episode, that last thing I posted, the last post I made, I came into this room, and I opened my computer, and I said I was going to do one. And then I literally was like, you have nothing to say. Why? No one wants to hear from you. Why would you do that? Don't do it. So I didn't open the computer. So it's been about a year. It'll be a year in March. This is the last time I posted. So I guess, I don't know, if you're watching this or still watching and maybe you're somewhat intrigued, we can talk a little bit. I don't know where I'm going to go with this. I don't know if this will stick around. I don't know if I'll keep posting, but I was just feeling like creative juices flowing. I was feeling like talking. So let's word vomit today. Yeah. So we left off in March. When we left off, I had won a pageant. I said, after Mrs. America, I was going to retire. But really, I didn't really want to retire from pageants. I just said I wanted to because everyone acted like I won Mrs. America. I could never compete again. I don't know why that's the case. They were like, well, what if you lose? After winning Mrs. America, what if you lose some small thing? And I was like, you're right. What if I lose? That's stupid. Who cares? No, like, who cares if you lose? Who cares? It's stupid. So then I decided to do one, but like, I had legitimately, and I'm going to talk about a few things here. I picked one, seat of my pants. I was like, that's in Michigan. I'm going to do it right now. I was 40 pounds bigger than I normally am. 40 pounds bigger than I am today. I've lost 40 pounds, bees. I did it. I lost 40 freaking pounds. We'll talk about that too. I gained 40 pounds. So I wasn't feeling myself. My dresses, none of the gowns I already had fit. I literally didn't prepare at all. And I won. It was very, very small. Not saying that it's not an accomplishment. It is. But it was like very, very small. It was cool. I won. I was supposed to move on to a national level. And I realized about a week after winning, I was like, I have no passion for this. And I'm trying to build myself up a passion. Like, because I do have a passion for my platform that I talk about in pageantry. I do. And if you've watched the videos before this, you know intersex rights, children with intersex conditions that are being mistreated, that is very passionate. I'm very passionate about that. But I didn't really have that much passion for this pageant. I wanted the high. I wanted to be told I was pretty, I was important, and I was cool. That's what I wanted. I wanted a crown on my head. Let's call it like it is. That's what I wanted. I left the show. And no one cared. Let's be real, no one cared. And that's fine. I knew they wouldn't care. I then got home and I still was anxious and I was still Greenlee's mom. I'm a dance mom. And I'm going to tell you something that makes me look like a freaking fool. I am more anxious about dance in dance mom life than I am anything else in my life. Anything else. Dance, competitions, all that stuff makes me more anxious than anything else. Practicing with her, helping her. Like, I don't know. It feels like I'm being, what's the word I'm looking for? Like an over-the-top, like TV, like stage mom by saying this. So please don't at me in the comments that I'm like, oh my God, eye roll. But my daughter's very good. She's very, very good. She's only 8 years old. She has a lot of big skills. She's not in ballet tendu, and that's it. She's doing back layouts and aerials and triple pirouettes, and she's doing things I didn't do when I was 18 and I was a dancer. She's very good. So when you're very good at something, it's hard to harness that and practice it and keep up with it. At 8, who does it? Like, big picture. Who does the work? Not Greenlee. Mom does the work. Who pays for it? Who drives her? Who makes the schedule? Who's making sure the costumes are done? Who's buying all the dance wear? Who's making sure, because she grows out of dance shoes every freaking 2 weeks, who's buying all the dance shoes? Who's keeping everything in line with the teachers? Who's arguing about the schedule all the time? It's me. Who's making sure she's practicing at home? It's me. Who's doing the stretch routine? Yes, she has a stretch routine she has to do every day because that's what happens when you hit a certain level. There are things you do daily to maintain a level of greatness. And I know that sounds extreme, but it's true. Like as a runner, as a distance runner, there are things I do every day to maintain my speed and my endurance. That's what it's like for her. She has to do it every day. But do you think my 8-year-old does it every day on her own? Do you? She doesn't. I do it. Mom does it. So I have become like the epitome of dance mom, and it causes me a lot of anxiety. Anyway, I wanted to not feel like that for a day. That's what I wanted. I wanted to not feel like that. I wanted to tell myself, you don't care that much about dance? She's 8. You don't care? Look, you're doing a pageant. And I did it and I won. And then it was over and I realized I don't want to go to this national pageant. I don't want to do this. And then it landed on the same freaking day that my all-star of a daughter had national championships for cheerleading. Because she also does that. So ultimately I was like, well, we're not going to miss dance. I mean cheer, sorry. See, dance is always on my mind. We're not going to miss cheer. We're going to go to cheer. We're not going to let the team down. And she wanted to go to cheer. She thought it was cool doing nationals. They won, by the way. Back in July, her team won nationals. She's a flyer. And she's tumbling across the stage with backhand springs. It was cute. It's fun to watch. See? I can't even do a podcast without freaking. Okay. So I gave up the title. I was like, I'm not going to nationals. I'm really sorry. I know I let some friends down in the process. I felt embarrassed about that. I felt a little sad. I also felt like, here I go again, messing everything up, because I keep doing that. I keep messing things up. Like, why can't I hold on to relationships and not be the person that messes it up? That's an honest question. Like, I feel like I did it with my old coworkers. I feel like I do it with friends. I feel like I do it with people that in my life, just through hobbies. I just feel like I'm constantly like screwing up somehow, screwing the pooch, making promises I can't keep. That's the best way to put it. Making promises I can't keep. Yeah, I'm going to do this pageant. I'm going to go to nationals, and I promise. And then my friends who are invested in the system are like, hey, you going to go? No, I'm not going to go. And they're like, okay, thanks. And I know I probably hurt them. I let them down. And they were really nice about it because they're my friends and they're nice people. But like, that was crappy of me, right? Well, after that day, I was embarrassed. I looked in the mirror and said, I've gained 40 pounds. I don't run anymore. I don't do anything. I'm a dance mom. I don't even have a freaking job. I'm not doing this podcast anymore. And so I didn't. Every day I'd come in this room and open the computer and be like, I got nothing to talk about. And then out of the blue, I'm sitting here yesterday and I said to myself, you should do it again. You should go on and talk again. Just to hear yourself talk. Just to feel important, Jackie. So I opened the computer and I did it. And I was like, this is garbage. Who wants to hear about this? So I closed the computer and I deleted it. So then now bring us to today. I'm back on again, okay? And I'm trying this again. I'm 13 minutes in to talking about my word vomit, my life. And I know some people, like a handful, there's like 10 people that watch these videos and listen to these podcasts of me, and they're like, yeah, I feel kind of validated. My son plays football and I'm super, super invested and I like can't focus on anything else. And they get it. If you get it, you get it. But if you don't, like if you're my husband, you don't get it. Because he doesn't do any of it. I do it all. So he doesn't get why I even care. He's like, why do you even care about all this? Like, just don't. It's like, let's pretend it's Tuesday. It's Wednesday, but we'll say Tuesday because there's a schedule with Tuesday. Like it's Tuesday. Just don't make her stretch. Just let her skip ballet and tumbling. Just don't do it. Why do you care so much? Okay. Just don't do it. I mean, I guess I could do that, but like, she's on track for certain goals. And on top of those goals, she has a commitment. She's like, okay, so she's in a ballet, a spring ballet. They have rehearsal. It's 2.5 hours long. Don't go. That's not how it works when you make a commitment. And she's 8. So I have to do it. And then same with the stretching. Like, yeah, I guess we could just like not do it, but she'll go backwards. She won't get better. She won't be able to even do the things she's currently doing in her routines because she needs that flexibility. So yeah, I have to do it. I made the commitment. And if I have a talk with her and she says, yeah, I want to cut back, then we can cut back, but I have to do it. So that's my life. My life sucks. I don't do anything fun. I have nothing to talk about with you guys. So I stopped doing it. And I bet you this video will get like 9 views. And it's going to be a punch to my freaking ego. I was in broadcasting, have been broadcasting for like 15 years. And I was a nobody at Ferris State University doing a podcast out of a morning show that I used to work on. Like I was an intern on. Didn't work on. I was an intern on. And I would get more listens than I guarantee I'll get now. Talking about nothing. I was doing nothing. I was in the basement at my now husband's house, goofing around on a microphone. But I'm going to come on and just try this again. So today's day 1. Welcome back to Mrs. Anxiety. I'm your host, Jackie Blankenship. It took 15 minutes to do that. What are we going to talk about on Mrs. Anxiety? Well, other than my anxiety, we're going to talk about the future and we're going to talk about the last 20 years. Because that is where I'm at right now. The last 20 years. What has happened? It's 2025, right? What has happened in the last 20 years that brought me where I am today? And I started realizing I've got a lot of stories, like my lore. Like anyone else on TikTok watching Ava Louise, who's that OnlyFans like busty model, who's doing her lore series. Her lore is mind-boggling. I have a lore, and it explains why I have 0 friends. Like I have a handful, maybe. 0 friends. I can't hold a job more than like 3 years before I end up moving on. It explains why I'm anxious all the time. I think I have a lore. And maybe that's what I talk about, right? So before we get into that in future episodes, we're going to address what the future is for Jackie Blankenship. So I've lost 40 pounds. I am running again, and I'm running kind of fast again. Like, I actually have some of my speed back. I'm training for a half marathon. I'm not going to say which one, because every time I do that, I feel like I'm like stapling it into the ground that I'm going to do this race, and then I feel weird if I quit. So I can tell you what one, but I am training for a half marathon. I did 2 half marathons in this fall. They went bad, but they helped me get some of my speed back. So I'm running again. My anxiety is like slightly better, but not really like any better. I think that's just me now. I think it's always been me. I still have a chip on my shoulder about being born with balls, testes, a huge chip. That's not gone anywhere. And my daughter, who is the National American Miss Princess, gave up her title. And when she gave up the title, because she was like the year was up and she had to crown the next winner, they announced a big announcement that the National American Miss, which is like a huge organization, huge, big money organization, was adding an age group. Do you know where I'm going with this? They're adding an age group, and it goes 26 or 25, 26, I think, to 39. And it's how old you are as of January 1. Well, it's now January, 8th, the 7th, something like that. January 8th. And you know how old I am? I'm 39. So I'm in the age group. I'm a 1985 baby. I will be 40 this year. So my daughter looked at me dead in the face and said, Mom, you're 39 on January 1. I said, yeah, I am. She goes, you need to do this. You helped me do this. You helped me win over $1,000 with my dance solo. You helped with talent. You helped me win with my public speech about being born from my Aunt Danny's tummy. You helped me win dollars in cash scholarships that are now in my bank account growing. Mom, you have to. Now, she didn't say it in those words, but she said it. That's what she said. She said, you helped me get these accomplishments. I'm going to help you. And she was so earnest and so honest and so excited that I said, yes, I am, girl. Yes, I am going to do it. And I stood there in this room with hundreds of little pageant girls and kids and teens and miss and people that work for NAM. I'm wearing something like I'm wearing right now. I looked like crap. And I said, I'm going to do it. I'm signing up. And people were like applauding. And they were like, yeah, our first contestant. Uh-oh. I made a promise. I'm going to keep this one, though. So I compete not till Labor Day weekend, so I have a while. It'll be in Indianapolis for Michigan. I have to win Michigan first. And then if I win, I get to go to National American Miss with my daughter, who's now my coach. She says, I have to learn a introduction speech. I have to learn a spokesmodel speech about my platform, which will be intersex rights again, because we're not heard enough. And I have to do evening gowns, so that'll be fun. I'll take you along with me evening gown shopping. I'm doing it all. And this time I'm passionate about it, and it's because of my daughter, right? Full circle moment. And she's so excited to come with me on this journey that I'm going to do it. So that's what's in the future for Jackie Blankenship, along with running and being a dance mom. That's the future. So this will be, let's give you what to expect. What to expect moving forward. 3 things. Stuff about me with my dog. I have a dog now. You want me to call him and see if he'll come? We'll try. George! Come here, George! George, come here! He's coming. He sleeps like all day. George! Come here, George! Here he comes. George! Oh, it's a baby George. He's a Yorkie poo. And he's my best friend. He loves me so much. We run together. He runs like 4-mile runs. He is my bestie. I love George. And my husband loves George, and my daughter loves George. He's been an incredible addition to our family, and we love him. We love him. So, this is what you expect. George. You'll expect some George. You'll expect me talking about my preparation for the pageant. Maybe I'll take you along dress shopping. When I'm practicing my introduction speech. All those things. I expect that. And then expect every few episodes some lore. We're going to go back in time and talk about what led to all my anxiety and where I'm at today. And some of the stories are really embarrassing. So if you listened to the morning show when I was on and you heard some of my ridiculously embarrassing stories and you liked them, like the stories like me pooping on the side of the road during a marathon. If you liked that story, because there's so much I haven't told you. So much. So get ready. Welcome to Mrs. Anxiety. I'm back.